So I grew up right near the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming, the only state in the Union that's better than Utah. And if you see the movie, The Wind River, you get a sense of what it was like. But when I was growing up and learning American history, this was in the 60s and 70s, a million years ago. And when we were studying American history, there were no girls in the American histories except for Betsy Ross. And I can tell you that sewing an American flag did not do it for me. However, when I learned about Sacagawea, I was mesmerized. So I think we're in a world a little bit now like Sacagawea, and the reason I picked her is because she's buried right outside the town where I grew up. She was one of my personal heroes. So during this time of change in healthcare, we kind of know where we're going, but it requires a lot of ingenuity, making friends, having goals, and being very talented as Sacagawea was. So I made this slide, and I think I need to change it. I had imagined it as I'm being cute because of the title is What's Out There. And so we're in the midst of this healthcare revolution, a 21st century healthcare revolution. And, the Yo's, you're coming into this whole world of ophthalmology, except I think maybe you should be in the center and we so should be out on the edge. So in just a few minutes, what I'm going to do is highlight quickly some issues that I think are important or trends that I think are important for private practice. So a few quick snapshots. In 5 minutes, I won't tell you anything about them, but just to mention things that will impact your lives dramatically. You all know this, but I can't overestimate how important the aging demographic is to the practice of ophthalmology. The number of patients that you will see with cataracts, macular degeneration, and glaucoma is overwhelming. So no matter what we do, there will be more patients than we can possibly take care of using the practice flow patterns and the technology and the methodologies that we do in 2017. Secondly, the consolidation of the healthcare markets will already have and will continue to dramatically affect the healthcare. This is a picture of Millennium Park in Chicago where I live. And if you look up from Millennium Park, when you're not going to a concert, and look behind, you'll see that big Blue Cross Blue Shield building. Blue Cross Blue Shield insures 77% of the insured Illinoisans. They're a true giant. But it's not just pharma, it's not just Blue Cross Blue Shield that's consolidating, it's also the large integrated health systems. So in the Chicagoland area, there are 5 large integrated health systems. There's Advocate, Northwestern, DuPage Medical Group, the Catholic systems, and North Shore. And I predict that in 3 to 5 years, we'll be down to 3 or 4 on that list, maybe 3. So wherever you practice, except maybe Wyoming, wherever you practice, you are going to be in the shadow or in the middle of a large integrated healthcare system. And by the way, I think that's more important than whatever's going on with the ACA or what's happening in Washington. What's happening in your local market with these large health systems will have more impact on your life than the ACA. Increasing practice costs. The cost of running a practice continues to increase, and it will continue to increase. Fluoresce, which we used to pay, I think, $5.49 a bottle, is going to be $50 to $70 a bottle next year, and it becomes a line item on your budget. A simple little thing like fluoresce. There's a transfer of risk from health systems or from insurance companies to the physician. You have high out-of-pocket. You have you're now responsible for collecting that really high copay, so you are an insurance company as well. There's an increase in anger among our patients. Our patients are more aggressive, they're angry, and they don't want to pay their $3,000 deductible. There's increasing Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is not Medicare the way we all love and know it. And then in my own community, August 16th, 2017, private equity group invested, that isn't an M, that's a B, $1.5 billion in the local medical group, and they have $1.5 billion to try to buy practices, including try to buy ophthalmology practice. So private equity will be a factor in the private practice world, at least for 2 to 3 years. I don't think it's a long-term factor, but that's a whole nother talk. I think, again, I'll say it twice, the integrated healthcare systems are a bigger factor for your life in the future than private equity, but you can't ignore $1.5 billion. AI and big data, I think this is what will allow us to take care of the deluge of patients. So there are hundreds of Silicon Valley companies who are investing in healthcare AI. And if they're investing their dollars in healthcare AI, you can be sure that it's going to impact how we take care of patients. And then the last thing is we will have disruptive technology to change how we practice medicine. So I'm showing you these VR goggles. I'm imagining that instead of having a field every 4 months or 6 months or once a year, that we'll send our fast progressing patients, which, by the way, AI will tell us which ones are the fast progressors, and then we'll send them home and say, I want you to do 3 visual fields on your VR goggles and upload them, and then I'll tell you, whether you're really progressing or not. Can you come back in 3 months and do a field again? Finally, the most important thing of all is that the reason you see people up here, so's and yo's, giving and getting awards and really showing deep emotion and deep connection to one another is because we share the same core values. Every person in this room is here because we're in the business of saving, preserving, and creating sight. And I think that gives us a level of energy and commitment and camaraderie that is very unusual in the workplace. In fact, I would even use the L word, the love word. We love what we do and we love one another. So our core values endure no matter what happens in these health systems, and we have intrinsic value to our work. And the last thing I'd say is no matter what happens with our health systems, no matter where things go, no matter who you work for, who your employer is, or if you're self-employed, at the end of the day, you will have well-paid, meaningful work. And someday, you guys will be the ones standing up here giving awards to my children. Thanks.